good morning and thanks for joining us again. This is Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey. And of course, with me in the studio, we have Okpebluwa Taiwo, who is a Managing Director, Africa Bridge Initiative. Thank you very much for staying with us.
Thank you for having me today.
And we also have Mr. Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter and a public affairs commentator. Good morning.
Good morning once again, and good morning,
All
Taiwo.
right then.
Thank you, sir.
Well, now let's look at the cover page of the Punch newspaper, and in fact, also of the Guardian. It's the big story. It's the biggest story today. Mass failure, the Punch says. Jamb boss weeps as human error forces Lagos Southeast receipts. The Guardian has it as Jamb admits system error, released 379,997 candidates for fresh exam. Well, that's the big story. And this is coming amidst one death that we know, and maybe a few others that we may not have been made aware of. Timileyin Faith, the one that happened in Ikorodu. I mean, it's
You
here
recall,
in Lagos. It's
you
on the
recall
lips
that
of a lot of people.
when this issue came up, was it Tuesday or so, when I told you that it's likely to be some errors, like the computers not responding, or maybe electricity problem or whatever, that there will be glitches, and that overall something will come out of this. And I'm happy that I must salute the courage of Ishak Oloyede, the professor, for admitting to that error and taking full responsibility, not just for Jamb, but to those CB center operators in the affected area. It shows that there is, like everybody had been saying in the last 2 weeks, light at the end of the tunnel.
But it's more heartbreaking because leaders, some individuals were quick to say, you know, this shows that
Leadership failure?
yes, leadership failure.
No.
Nigerians, no, excuse me, that Nigerian youths don't study. They are more interested in Yahoo, internet fraud, ritual killings, and the rest. This is an evidence that they were quick to say that,
But anyway,
which is unfortunate.
I hold on to that.
You hold on to that.
Yes, till now. Now, what is the fraction of 370 something against 1.5 million?
Well, I do believe investigations.
No, what I'm
still
asking
ongoing.
you to, what are we talking about now? Out of 1.9,
1.5 million.
no,
1.9 roads, 1.5 failed.
Now,
Out of
remove, let
1.5.
us assume without agreeing that this whole 300 and something thousand
We've passed.
eventually pass and score above 200.
We still have 1 million.
Remove 370 from 1.5.
1 million
It's still failure.
My point is that investigation. I mean, this is just this
They've
investigation.
isolated,
This
identified.
investigation that
The
revealed
investigation has proven
390
and it
something.
has identified that a particular
Now, this
area,
investigation was conducted within a few days. So, if more investigation is done, they might realize that out of the 1.5, they might find more people who have been unjustly given results that was not theirs.
you know, you recall that we were talking about this thing here, and we said some people are not even trained on how to go about the CBT test. That once they answer one particular question paper, rather than move to the second paper, they just press submit. And once you press submit, you are finished.
Yeah, but that could be a little fraction.
No, I'm just telling you.
Okay,
that
let's look at the figures here. According to the Punch said 206,610 candidates affected in Lagos, 173,387 in the southeast, and then Jamb and WAEC meets to avoid timetable clash. That's the rider to the story.
Now, what that tells you is that, you see, it's no longer rocket science to identify and isolate problems if there is a particular glitch somewhere, because it's computer based. So you could, for instance, those days when Jamb started, you'd have to wait for about 3 months, 2 months to get your result. Today, it's less than 48 hours, you get your results, which means it's a programmed thing. So somebody somewhere may decide to sabotage the process.
Talking about sabotage.
You see,
Talking about sabotage. Let's have your take on this. Do you think, well, we're just sharing opinion here, and you think Jamb was too early to release the results? Maybe out of excitement.
No, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, like I usually say, has only one major mandate, not too many mandates. And what is that mandate? Centralized admission process. So what does that mean? You are not in competition with any university. You are not in competition with any other examination body. You are in your own class. So what does that mean? Going forward, get your data right. That's number one. Number two, get your softwares right. Number three, get your service providers right.
Okay.
Service
Because now the service providers are also being blamed for this.
In fact, the service provider as of today has more than 60% to be blamed in all of this. Not even Professor Oloyede himself. But apparently as of today, it's unfortunate that Simile has to go.
Very unfortunate.
It's so unfortunate that we have to lose somebody all in the name of tertiary
Failure on the part
examination process.
Yes.
It's so unfortunate. So, what does that mean? Going forward, two things are involved. Number one, you have a mandate to centralize the examination and the admission process. But you also have internal mechanism to decentralize your own process also. You have that innovative processes whereby you can have the entire Southwest in a particular cloud, the entire North in another particular cloud, so that when there are itches, glitches, or sabotage, in quotes, it will be easily identified.
So what does that mean?
What does that mean? It will be easily to be identified, and even the solution will also be easy, because like you are trying to give us some data that out of the 1.5 million that is still remaining, that even if the remaining 300,000 that is going to write exam, even if they pass, 1.2 will still fail. It's not acceptable to Nigerian students. Nigerian students are saying no to this kind of result. In fact, I am speaking on behalf of Nigerian students now. For this particular exam, the entire process should be cancelled. We need another Jamb examination for this year 2025.
And I particularly
that is what we need.
I particularly think they are being too early. Well, why
that's
is
what
going
we
to
need.
come up soon?
We need another exam entirely.
Why
don't
is going to come
reset
up soon?
North. Don't reset East. Don't reset. Don't bring politics into Jamb examination. Let's have another entire Jamb exam for this year. I am speaking on behalf of Nigerian students. That is our demand.
It's interesting when you say,
how can you say that 1.3 million failed out of 1.9? 1.9 is not acceptable. Nigerian students, we are not accepting this particular result.
Okay. Well, I do believe my producer has the video of Professor Ishaq Oloyede addressing the media, where he shed some tears. Well, he was very emotional in that video. Now, he's a man that has been credited for being, for having integrity. He has returned funds to the coffers of the
federal government,
the FG. He has done that quite a number of times, and some have said, well,
consistently since he became the.
He also hinted at
the registrar.
a sabotage, in this regard. If we have that video, let's put that one up. But while we're trying to get that one ready, it's difficult not to see the politics in all of this. It's difficult because a new system was introduced. I've forgotten what they call it, and that was the system that affected the Southeast and Lagos. And it's not just one state in the Southeast. It's all 5 states in the southeast.
How do we justify that?
How do we justify that?
How do we justify that? That's what I'm saying. Because now we are trying to build a nation for the future. We are trying to build Nigeria of our dream. And one of the areas Nigeria can come together, apart from sports, is in the area of quality education. Like I said earlier on, it's only education that can make the son of no man.
Yes, that can bridge the gap.
To become somebody without knowing anybody. It's only quality education that can bridge the gap between the poor and the what and the rich. So what do we have as of today? We are having a system that can be upgraded, that can be updated, but yet we need to decentralize it. Not decentralizing it according to political, geopolitical zone, no, but decentralizing it according to the system base. If we have the entire north, let a particular service provider take care of the entire north. Let another particular service provider take care of the entire Lagos in case our number is too high. Let another service provider take care of the entire southeast or south-south. So, what does that mean? What does that mean? Number one, there will be what? Competition among the service provider. None of them will want their process to be down. None of them will want their services to be terminated. So everybody will be on their toe. But in a situation where you are having only one service provider for the entire Jamb examination in Nigeria, I'm sure we cannot sustain that going forward.
That is sabotage on the part of the service provider. Now let's talk about sabotage, possible sabotage on behalf, on the side of the civil servants themselves internally.
You see, one thing
Can that be ruled out?
One thing I know, I have an insider in Jamb. He's the middle-level officer.
Please don't mention the person's name.
No, I'm not going to mention his name. I won't jeopardize my chances of career build-up, But the truth about it is that Professor Ishaq Oloyede has earned himself the notorious toga of Mr. No Nonsense. And an average civil servant would not want to have himself or herself around Mr. No Nonsense. Well, the only reason, because I had to engage my cousin over the activities of Jamb since this man came, and before he came, the first thing he told me was that, that man is a very wicked man. I said, how? Has he beaten anybody in office? Has he sacked indiscriminately? Has he sacked anybody indiscriminately? He said, no, but the man has denied us some of those privileges and perks we used to enjoy. I said, like what? And as at that time, he was actually coming for a training in Ibadan. I said, but if somebody is giving you training and retraining, and you say it's bad, he wants you to build your career. He said, those days, we may not even attend those trainings, and we get our money, we get our alert. And besides, those days, when there are leftovers, that is shared among the staff members, that at least some form of money comes, though in trickles, to their account, that even sometimes it's a surprise. Just wake up and see a certain amount of money in your pocket, in your account. And I said, now.
So Mr. Donosense came now.
You are one of the people that will be condemning leadership in Nigeria. Now you have somebody out of myriad of fraudsters that are parading in the corridors of power. You have somebody who could just say, this is, after spending so on this project, I want to return this. And you are now vilifying him. I said, which means you are another disaster waiting to happen on Nigeria.
So could this be corruption fighting back?
This set of people can compromise the system just to make the man cry the way they had cried. Because for a man at that level, at that age, to shed tears, is shedding tears and is emotional because there are certain things that is that are selling him that he could not tell the
Tell
public.
the whole world.
Okay. Well, I don't get moved by tears anyway. So.
Well,
But you're not in his shoes, so you
not in
might
his shoes.
not understand him.
There are certain things that do you know
I
that
don't
there are
shed
certain
tears
things.
easily.
Do you know that there are certain things that can overwhelm you that you cannot tell the next person?
I don't shed tears easily. Like I don't have my tear glands are very.
But that is dangerous.
Well,
that is dangerous.
It's not.
It's dangerous.
It's not.
And maybe because he has not been in such positions.
I've been in worse positions.
If you are a registrar of maybe like ICANN, yes. When everybody's throwing jabs at you, then you understand the meaning of.
And you are not even the cause of the problem.
You are not the cause of the problem.
Well, let's hear from Bishop Dr. Bob Manuel as he joins us virtually. Good morning to you, Bishop. Let's have you unmute your microphone now so you can fully be part of this conversation. Good morning again, Bishop Dr. Bob Manuel. Are you with us? All right, I do believe there's a communication error. You see, we've been having communication errors. You know, that's the glitch that we're talking about. So, should we be working? Should we sanction telecom companies in this because they're causing problems?
Absolutely. Businesses are losing money.
They are fingered in some of all these things as well. In Jamb, this Jamb issue.
You see, you may not quickly. At least I have been in management for a while. I know that you don't just jump to conclusions when there are glitches like this. It could even be your own fault as a company.
Possibly.
Maybe wrong configuration and then not getting the right bandwidth.
But now let's stay with Jamb now. Jamb has rescheduled the examination, reseating of the examination for this Saturday. Don't you think it's too early? Because some people are still...
There are two sides to it.
Okay, let's have the two sides to it.
The first side is most people, naturally, psychologically, when they are done with the exam, they tend to shed the toga of preparedness. Mm-hmm. So for you to jumpstart such person and want to get the optimal level at which he went for the first exam is always very difficult. I give an example. My son sat for Jamb and he scored 287. Now, when UI was going back and forth, that he missed the course he wanted to study by 2 points. So he said, Daddy, don't lose any influence. Let me go and rewrite Jamb. But in the midst of rewriting Jamb, after about 3 weeks of rewriting Jamb, they finally gave him admission for the previous Jamb he wrote. Now, do you know that he scored 250?
In the subsequent Jamb.
In the subsequent Jamb.
Lesser than he scored.
Less than what he scored first. So, the danger in this is that those students may have forgotten about preparation. So, for them to now start, and the time limit is so short.
You just made a valid point. The valid point here is sometimes we've seen situations where people write Jamb this year. They feel okay, they're not sure of whether they will get admission or not. They enter for Jamb again next year, and they write, and the result for the previous year comes. Already, money has been made.
There's no refund.
There's no refund. I spoke to 3 people had that same experience. And that is exactly what happened to Faith Okpesusi yesterday. When the story of her death came up. 30 minutes after she was declared dead at Kolak Hospital, Odogunyo, Ikorodu, an email was received in her Gmail account. Admission for the previous examination.
For the previous not this particular one.
Well, she said she did even better in 2024 examination, Jamb. She did better in 2024. Worse than, 2024 was better than this 2025 examination. But already,
it has been done.
6 feet under. So, shouldn't we have a situation where admissions come, you know, almost immediately as well, so people will not start registering again?
You know, the problem with that
examination.
The only way to address that is to find a way of having uniform resumption for sessions in the universities. For instance, as I speak, UI is in second semester, and some universities are just in their first semester. You know, so you won't expect the University A that is just on first semester and University B that is on second semester to admit students at the same time. So sometimes admissions are delayed, you know, for those who are currently in school to finish their second semester exams before they now begin, because you have to do post-UTME in most of these universities. So, and this is as a result of these incessant strikes by ASU, NASU, and the rest of them. So when people do certain things, they tend to overlook the multiplier effect of some of these things on innocent people. Now, ASU flexed muscle, NASU flexed muscle with federal government. They kept these pupils and students at home for many months, as much as 9 months. Now, 9 months in the life of a youngster, anything could have happened. Someone would have gone into drug addiction. Some would have been pregnant. Some would have even forgotten about school and all that. So now, ASU is back to work. The salary they are being owed had been paid, even when they didn't work for it. But who are the people bearing the brunt? The students.
You can't say they didn't work for it.
Were they not at home?
They went on strike. They had to go on strike.
And so
to get the salaries.
Were they teaching?
You know, let's not even bring
Moses, don't be emotional about this. Were they teaching?
If government had
maybe you have a cousin or uncle that is a lecturer.
I don't. But if government had paid them what was due unto them in
they
the
would
first
have gone on strike.
They wouldn't have gone on strike.
That's another thing.
So it's the onus now is on the government to do the needful.
And so as a result,
let's get into another conversation now. From The Guardian, it's a bottom strip headline, but I think it's quite an interesting one. DSS sues Patutomi over shadow government plan. I think I know your stance on this.
I thought
isn't this? I think
I told you that this is likely to happen. That is a landmine.
No, how? This was a political statement.
Listen.
Shadow government.
You see,
when assign somebody to follow the ministers to ensure that they do.
Let's be realistic.
I don't think it means anything.
I know. I've worked closely with Professor Patutomi. I know his passion for Nigeria. Sometimes when I engage him, you know what I usually tell him? I say, Prof, you are not meant for Nigeria. Go to US, go and settle down in US and be churning out your books on economics, on political economy and all that. And then go out there and begin to deliver lectures. Some of your mates that are not as good as you, as erudite as you are, they are earning $250,000 for a 2-hour lecture. So why are you always fighting for a better Nigeria that may not even happen during your generation? But it's somebody that is so upbeat and very, very optimistic that Nigeria can still change. But unfortunately, one of the things that I pity him for is that they goad him, using, make him look like the front because of the integrity mantra around him. At the end of the day, when they use him, they will dump him. Moses, do you know that Patutomi was one of the brain behind APC?
Absolutely.
That was when you saw him in a video dancing behind Tinubu.
Tinubu, yes.
What is the relationship between Tinubu and Patutomi today? In 1999, Patutomi was part of, even as early as 1979, Patutomi was already a special advisor in Shagari's government. But what is his lot today in the political firmament of Nigeria? And now, they have used him as arrowhead today. If DSS picks him up,
they have.
And no, I'm just telling you now, if DSS picks him up and is kept like Nnamdi Kanu in detention, it is the wife and the children that will suffer. Yet, even these ones, they will still use him and dump him.
Statements like this will only instill fear in those that want to challenge the government. I don't think we should put out statements like this.
That word, shadow government,
I think that word was a political statement. I know your stance on this.
That word,
it was a political
shadow
statement.
Government,
that word
is not relevant to our democracy.
So it's
this is a presidential system of government.
It's the word used.
It's the word used. It's the word used. And I can tell you for free that sometimes these actors may not say exactly what the reporter is reporting. Some of these reporters, they go into sensationalism for no just reason. So at the end of the day, how many media houses will want to recant?
Okay. Now, what the shadow government is about, when it was explained, is that, look, we will assign individuals to each minister, each government official,
to shadow him,
to ensure that they do what is needed. They execute what they've been mandated to do. So that's the shadow. You are shadowing the person. You are keeping tabs on the person to ensure that this person does what they have been appointed or elected to do. So if he had taken away shadow government, would he have made it any less?
It would have been maybe opposition, viral opposition.
Okay,
viral opposition would have been better. But shadow government now, by the time the SS begins to interpret it and the court begins to interpret it, you'll be shocked that this will lead to treason.
Moses,
treason charge.
There's a narrative we are not looking at here. There is the DSS has their own activities.
They have a mandate.
They have a mandate, all right. Now, when we talk about a public figure speaking authoritatively on political issues that will affect more than 250 million Nigerians, don't expect the DSS to sleep over it.
That is it.
Do not expect the DSS
As we speak now,
to sleep over it.
They are monitoring us.
All right? So, what does that mean? Shadow government is not a problem. All right? But the word shadow government to DSS is a problem. We must understand that. It's a problem.
Because they are in charge of internal security.
All right? Now,
they are secret police.
If I am in the university and I'm part of the student union, and a man who was supposed to be part of the government, who lost election, he's talking about shadow government, will I be laughing with such a man? The answer is no.
Yeah, if you know the man, you could just say, oh,
there's no way I will be laughing with such a man.
No.
Because he wanted to be part of the government, but he lost to me. So, assuming he's a neutral man who was not part of the whole process, who has never been part of the whole process, that is talking about shadow government, it's another thing entirely. But because this kind of statement is coming from an actor, a relevant state actor, then the DSS is not to be blamed. They have not said that they are going to punish him.
I predicted it here now.
Are you getting me? They are not said they are going to punish him. But they are only telling you that if truly you are a state actor, some statements from you can be a fire to the citizen.
You said they've not said they'll punish him. They've sued him already. So it's what comes out of the suits that will determine.
That will determine. Yes. So if they have sued him, what does that mean? They are saying that if someone like me also...
They are considering him, they've considered him a threat.
All right. That, absolutely. So what they are saying that if someone like me also is looking at shadow government, I should be careful the way I'm going to portray it in public or in the media. That's what they are saying. Even though in my own intellectual capacity, I might have seen it as a very good option for us to keep tab on the system. But that statement, that particular word, can be what? Can be insightful into the what? Into the peace of the nation.
Okay, so we should be mindful what we say now.
Especially if you're a state actor.
Okay.
Freedom of expression is qualified.
Of the realm.
Like they say, freedom of speech is guaranteed.
Freedom of expression is qualified.
No, like they say, the freedom of speech is guaranteed.
Yes.
But your freedom after the speech.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's take some more headlines. From the Punch, there's a headline right beside the masthead. It says, rising insecurity, Tinubu governors to deploy 130,000 new forest guards nationwide. Recruitment is ongoing for these forest guards. They will be armed to ward off foreign elements from the forest. What do you make of this
when you have
statement?
When you hear government telling you that they are having ad hoc committee, fresh committee, and fresh group to take care of certain things, then you know that there is a failure somewhere. What is the job of the DSS, the Civil Defense, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, Air Force, and other security agencies in Nigeria? Does it mean that...
Do we have enough of them?
The point is, today, out of about 380,000 policemen and officers, you have about 160 of them in the hands of private actors as bodyguards.
They've been recalled a number of times now. They've been recalled.
On paper.
Who told you?
On paper.
Who told you? Look at the way pastors parade mobile policemen as their escorts. Pastors that will tell you, rely on God for your safety, but they will never rely on God for their own safety. Look at Yahoo boys, small boys with mobile policemen with double rounds of magazine in AK-47 following them about. Some policemen are carrying bags for state non-state actors. Go to any party, go to any club in the night, you see them. So now, why don't you withdraw all these people? 160 is even higher than the number they want to recruit. Send them to the forest. After all, they are well trained. Because the training of a mobile police officer is ×5 the normal training of the regular policeman.
Absolutely.
Is trained in the jungle, either in Ila or Goza, where you are only given a compass and you navigate your way for about 30 kilometers without food. Whatever you see is your food. If you see any stray animal you kill, is your food. And yet, what are we looking for? It's just money down the drain, saying you want to recruit 130 more forest rangers. Are they there to protect the fauna and the sauna? I don't know. So it's a wasted effort and money down the drain, as far as I'm concerned. How soon can you train people to man forests that they will not be object of slaughter by those marauders?
How soon? Do you even know those that you are recruiting? Do you know the
exactly?
character?
You end up recruiting criminals that will also begin to be a menace to the state.
Oh well. What's your take on this?
I have not too many take on this. He has given us the many takes on this particular system of government and a new agency that has been created already. They have been recruited. I've seen them already on uniform.
Okay, sorry. Before you give us your take, let's go into this story. Let's take some excerpts of it. Now we hear that to curb escalating insecurity across Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of a national forest guard system and ordered the recruitment of over 130,000 armed operatives to secure the country's 1,129 forest reserves. Now, this initiative already approved during Monday's expanded Federal Executive Council meeting mandates each state to recruit between 2,000 and 5,000 forest guards based on their capacity. And the recruitment and training will be supervised by the Office of the National Security Advisor and the Ministry of Environment. A rough projection of 3,500 recruits per state translates to over 130,000 new forest guards, including those for the Federal Capital Territory. There we have it. So 130,000 of them to guard 1,129 forests.
All right.
forest
So,
reserves.
For me, I
so
do not...
average of 10 forest guards to a forest.
The forest.
Reserve.
Is that?
You know?
You know, one thing I will say.
About 50 herdsmen on motorbikes invade that forest.
And the man is dead.
What is the chance of that forest?
You know, there is a particular narrative I'm looking at this, which we need also to look at. You know, in the 21st century, whatever agency you're creating, whatever sub-agency you're looking at, let's look at the sustainability. Now, there's something good, positive that Mr. President is doing. Saving Nigeria a lot of funds that has been from maybe, let's say maybe crude oil, whether from what do you call it? The subsidy removal and the rest. Saving a lot of money. So because it's saving a lot of money now, state governors are having more funds from the federal allocation. All right? So what does that mean? There's much more to do a lot of projects, a lot of activations. So one thing Mr. President should understand is that whatever he is doing now might not be sustainable for the next government. So why don't you look at your easy activation and sustainability mode on already established ministries, departments, and agencies before creating another one entirely. Like he said, look at the amount of money we are spending on an average mobile policeman. If we can reinforce the capacity training of an average mobile policeman in Nigeria and deploying them rightly, channeling them to the right place at the right time, what do you think will happen? There will be much more security on the land, in the forest, and out of the forest. But because we are having too many mismanagement within that sector, now we are creating another agency that might be mismanaged later. And even before the mismanagement, how are we sure that the budget of 2029 will be able to cater for this set of people? Don't forget, we still have the civil defense. It took them some years before the federal government could release ammunition to them. Now,
these ones are going to be armed immediately.
No, those ones, not that they are going to be armed. They have been armed already. They are already on ground. I've seen some of them with the ammunition already. Okay. They've started working already.
The guards?
They've started working. NFS. They've started working already. It's just that they are giving you the information now. But they've started working already. But the question is this sustainable? How do we fund it in the next 10 years? Don't forget, in the next 5 years, they'll be telling you, like the statistics you are just giving us, they'll be telling you that those figures are not enough, that we need about extra 500,000 to man our forest. And that will be another debate for the National Assembly. And the funding will not be another problem. So, this government is doing the right thing. But the channeling, the research, the statistics, and data to back up the sustainability is not yet attained. Until we have that solidified data, we should not expedite action in creating new agencies of the government, because the funding might not be available in the next year budget.
All right then, that's your take. Oh well, let's touch on a few other headlines before we wrap this up. NNPCL didn't remit 500 billion naira revenue in 2024. That's according to the World Bank. PDP crisis.
500 billion.
Yes,
million.
500 billion naira.
Oh.
They did not remit it.
They didn't remit it.
Yes.
But it's their usual character. So
according to World Bank. PDP crisis worsens as Southeast Caucus moves defection. Afrima 2025, AU awards host city right to Lagos. You want to react to any, or should we just look at the Guardian? Well, let's look at the Guardian.
So when we talk about NNPC, if you are, well, like he said earlier, the media also should be somehow cautioned. If you are pushing, well, it's good also in one way for us to have the tab of the figures the NNPC is diverting. But for me, it's not a news. NNPC has that usual
reputation of not making full disclosure.
They have that reputation of non-full disclosure of their financial capacity. They've turned themselves to be cabal that can never be audited.
I've never seen an organization that is as opaque as NNPC. More you look, less you see.
Audited account is 0. Forensic -0. I don't know whether we have to bring in international foreign accounting firm to be able to audit NNPC.
Bring 10 of them.
Maybe,
I
don't know.
See.
You still not see anything.
You will not see anything. Because that's
I
when
you will see.
That's when you see the account
department. No, you will see it. You actually see it.
That's when
you will see
account department will start burning.
Okay, that's an angle to it.
That's another conversation entirely.
Okay.
Then maybe each time the KPMG is coming up, a PwC is coming, we should also bring a federal fire
service.
Maybe
that should be the advanced party. To make sure that place is secured from fire outbreak.
All right.
So that the account department can do it.
Yes.
Well, let's touch on some more headlines from The Guardian. Luth decries staff shortage, high electricity bills amid infrastructure gains. Let's tie this Luth story, which you can find on page 7 of The Guardian, to another story on page 3. NAD, that's National Association of Resident Doctors, raises alarm over House officers' plight. Exodus of doctors. Let's link those two stories.
If you open,
that's a field that
if you open your door, if you open your door and you are restricting somebody from coming out of your house, how can you do that?
How can you do that?
It doesn't add up. Because, look, an average doctor today, I keep saying one thing, that it is not because of pay package that some of these doctors are leaving Nigeria. It's a result of high level of equipment deficit. Most, for instance, for cesarean operation today, they use laser surgery in advanced wards. But this one, a knife and a cutlass in Nigeria. Now, how do you expect a surgeon in Nigeria to compete with another surgeon in US, UK, Canada, Saudi Arabia, and the rest? When it's just like a boy who only read about computer from the hinterland and is admitted to come and study computer science. How do you want him to start the same race with somebody whose parents had bought a tablet or laptop for while he was in kindergarten? And he has been interacting with such systems till when he sat for school start and is now admitted in the same university with the same modules of training. How is that person going to compete? If that person finally competes with that person from the urban area, that means he's a genius. That if he had the same opportunity as the one in the urban center, he would have excelled better than the one in the urban center. It's the same thing with these doctors. Now, doctors, when they come back from abroad and they begin to compare notes with their colleagues in Nigeria, the colleagues in Nigeria will feel ashamed of themselves. Whereas he could have been a better student while they were in medical school in Nigeria before the other person went to UK or Saudi Arabia.
So environments.
So the environment is not conducive for them. So they want to go out and also practice. I know of a guy who is my friend's sibling. He had planned to remain in Nigeria, work in Nigeria, make himself relevant to Nigerian system, and end up being a professor of medicine. He finished his residency. For 2 years, 3 universities were tossing him around. So eventually, he left for UK. And today, he has vowed that he will never come to Nigeria.
Let's tie this story to that of Lagos State that said, it's not on the cover page, but it's in the news as well. Lagos State said, look, about 30% of those they sent on training
They'll never return.
Did not come back.
How would they come back?
Capacity building.
No, let me ask you.
Why wouldn't they come back?
Moses,
They have spoiled opportunities for other people. I know a few people that were sent on training some years back. Now, the monies they got, the monies my friend got, was enough for him to, start up a building here. And then he went on the training and came back and is putting something in the sector that he's in. Now, I do believe that these people were given some reasonable amount of money.
Moses, the culture you are born to is not the same culture you have your child now. Those days, your parents will tell you, why don't you just start a career in the civil service? In no time, after about 20 years, you become assistant director. And by the time you get to 25 years in service, you become deputy director. Then you'll be handling to become permanent secretary. And you retire peacefully. Go and tell a child of 15 now that story. My son, an appointment was waiting for him in Lagos Inland Revenue Service. That's why he served. And I was happy about it, that at least this guy will have a career path. The day I broached it with him, because somebody was assisting me to fix it. I broached it and said, Daddy, so of all the things you wished me in life, is for me to be in civil service. Where either I put in any effort or not, I will only be waiting for 3 years to get promoted. And then another 3 years to get promoted. By the time I'm an assistant director, I'm already wasted. There is no innovation for me. I can't say this is the way I want to do it. It is always I am directed. That format has not changed. I was cold. I couldn't say anything for that.
Moses, you were pushing up a narrative of patriotism, a narrative of integrity. And that has always been our culture, our value as a nation. In the past, quote me, in the past. Now, when I heard that story, do you know the first thing that came to my mind? The people that were sent on training, were they the right people that should be sent on training?
That's another matter.
Okay.
Were they the right people? Because don't forget, in every intellectual or professional training, there's something we call pre-summit survey. And there's always what we call post-training survey. In that pre-training survey, it will highlight your deficiency, your gap.
Using SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis. And your capacity and what you are doing as at now, and what other value you needed for us to expand your horizon within the complex situation of your office. Now, if you and I fill that survey, there must be a back-end operation that will screen that survey saying that Moses actually did not need this particular training. That he needed this training much more than I. Okay. Then please, out of these 3 people, he should go for that training, not Moses, not me. But whenever such has not been done, whenever such has not been done, don't allude everything to integrity issue, because the integrity has already been broken at the back end.
All right.
Why are you sending an old man that is about to retire 5 years to an international professional training, knowing fully well that he does not believe in patriotism? It's very good escape route for him to go and retire in United Kingdom or to go and retire in Japan.
Well, this would be a good place to anchor this program, because this is how we come to the end of newspaper review. I must say a very big thank you to you, Utme Taiwo. Thank you very much for coming.
Good to be here once again.
Director, Africa Bridge Initiative, and also to a seasoned reporter and public affairs commentator, VOP analyst, Dele Fanimo. Thank you very
Always
much
my pleasure
for your time. Well, that's it on the show. I'm Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.